Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. Let's go ahead and get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are slipping this morning with S&P futures down 0.38%, Dow futures down 0.05%, and NASDAQ futures down 0.97%. Investors across markets are betting on brighter outlook for the global economy and the risk that inflation is just around the corner. Companies popular with the day trader crowd are surging once again. GameStop jumped 80% and AMC rallied 16% in early U.S. trading. Commodities have also extended their gains, with investors moving into metals that can ride faster growth trends. Copper moved closer to a record high set a decade ago, and aluminum touched a 2-year high. This week, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's reassurance that policy would continue to support and look beyond temporary pickup in inflation has given the bond market enough reason to keep driving yields higher. The 10-year U.S. yield adjusted for inflation rose to its highest level in more than 7 months. This was also a warning sign for riskier assets that have benefited from loose financial conditions amid the pandemic. Over in Europe, stocks erased gains, while over in Asia, stocks closed broadly higher. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
You know, Shane, I've been watching the S&Ps all morning long, and they were, they're continuing to drop a little bit, which really shouldn't be surprising. We had a really big up day yesterday. So, when you put it in context, it's okay. I think the sentiment is still pretty bullish today. I mean, this morning we have a number of key economic reports coming out, including the jobless claims and the GDP and, reports on the manufacturing sector. I do have concerns, in the tech, while the tech stocks seem to be, wavering a bit. I'm concerned here because today's the start of those anti-competitive practices hearings at Congress. So I need to kind of keep one eye open for any news that's coming out on those events. But my focus is really on earnings, as you know, and today's a very heavy earnings day. Airbnb, Beyond Meat, DoorDash, Salesforce, and let's not forget Moderna is releasing earnings today.
Well, moving into earnings to watch, Bill, what type of earnings are we expecting today?
Well, let's start off with what we're not expecting. That's earnings from 3D Systems. That's DDD, Triple D. These guys just announced yesterday that they're going to be delaying their earnings report till Monday afternoon. Delays in earnings reports, I got to tell you, it's not a good sign, but it doesn't always mean that they're going to, come out with a bad report. It just makes people nervous. Mm-hmm. Teladoc, this was a real good one. Teladoc missed by $2.83. The stock's down about $17 this morning. Why did they miss? Because they're talking about merger costs with a recent acquisition. They, I think $2.50 of that loss was because of stock options that they had to grant the party that they're acquiring. This was not a good report at all. And plus, they got Amazon moving in, and they got United Healthcare moving into their business. All the price targets were at $200, and I've been cautious on Teladoc ahead of earnings for the last few days. Let's move over to NVIDIA. That's ticker NVDA. These guys delivered a 29-cent beat on higher revenue. But like with all tech sectors, there's concerns about the valuations. You're seeing, even with a stellar beat, NVIDIA is still down 2.2% this morning. L Brands, they delivered a 12-cent beat on lower revenue. The stock's moving up about almost 1% because they guided higher above the expectations. Let's talk SeaWorld. That's SEAS. They beat estimates by 12 cents on higher revenue. They came in at a loss of 59 cents rather than the expected loss of 69 cents. And you see that the stock's moving higher this morning. Best ticker BBY. They beat by 3 cents on lower revenue. And you see the stock getting a hit. Just like NVIDIA, concerns on tech valuations. The stock's down 4.8% this morning.
How about insights as far as upcoming earning announcements?
There's a lot of good ones coming out today. You Beyond Meat, ticker BYND, that's set for a 10% move. Salesforce, ticker CRM, that's set for a 5% move. Got to be cautious here because of the recent merger that they did with the recent merger transaction they did last quarter. But this thing is a very well run company, very good. So I'm keeping an eye on Salesforce, and that's a big move for that stock, 5%. Caesars, ticker Charlie Zebra Richard, that's set for a 5.9% move when they release this afternoon. Be cautious. These guys have a lot of debt issues, and it could prove to be an issue here, especially with concerns of rates moving higher. Dell, ticker DELL, that's set for a 6.3% move. Ticker ETSY is set for an 8% move. And Shake Shack, remember they didn't have a good quarter last quarter, and they're set for a 7.4% move. Beyond ticker BYND, I'm concerned about it. The stock sold off hard in last quarter's earnings report. And I'm reading it, and the CEO is blaming COVID-19 as the issue here. Perhaps the euphoria of plant-based meat is dwindling down. Mm-hmm. They're trying to, compete with the same price level as beef prices, which actually lowers their profitability. They are going to have some additional expenses that they haven't occurred before because they recently moved their headquarters. So profitability may prove, challenging for this stock when they release earnings this afternoon.
Well, moving into economic reports, Bill, what type of reports are we seeing today?
At 8:30, we got the jobless claims. So we got the GDP figures and durable goods orders. At 10 a.m., we have pending home sales. At 11 a.m., the Kansas City Fed Manufacturing Index. And you got to watch the Fed speak. At 8:30, we have the Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic speaking. At 10 a.m., you have Fed Vice Chair Randall Corral speaking. At 12 noon today, Atlanta's Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic is going to be giving another speech. And then at 3 o'clock, the Fed speak wraps up today with a speech being given by the New York Fed Bank President John Williams.
Well, moving into our morning's critical insights, starting things off with one on Tesla, ticker TSLA. Tesla's put a temporary halt on the production of Model 3S in its production plant in Fremont, California. Workers working at the Model 3 line were told to take leave from February 22nd to March 7th. Although the reasons are unclear, what is clear is that the entire car industry is being affected by a semiconductor shortage that is hampering output. In addition, analysts say that Tesla's move might be a reflection of a weaker demand. And when you take into account that just last week, the company dropped Model 3 prices by 2.6% and Model Y prices by 5%, the theory becomes more probable. So it's definitely one to keep our eyes on. In other news, CareDx, ticker CDNA, has acquired TX Services, a cloud-based service for doctors and patients with transplant programs. CareDx is currently up 0.1% in pre-market. One on Pfizer, ticker PFE, and BioNTech, ticker BNTX. The company said that they have initiated a study to evaluate the safety and immunogenicity of a third dose of their COVID-19 vaccine to understand the effect of a booster on immunity against COVID-19 caused by the circulating and potentially newly emerging virus variants. Pfizer share price is up 0.15%, while BioNTech is down 0.49%. Following news on COVID-19, Moderna, ticker mRNA, says it's making capital investments to increase capacity up to an expected 1.4 billion COVID-19 vaccine doses in 2022. One on Norwegian Cruise Line, ticker NCLH. The company says that there continues to be a demand for future cruise vacations. So pricing for the second half of 2021 is in line with pre-pandemic levels. And while the booking cycle in 2022 is still going on, 2022 booking trends are looking very positive, driven by strong pent-up demands. Norwegian Cruise Line's share price is up 3.61% so far in pre-market. Lastly, for me, one on Merck, ticker MRK. Merck's agreed to acquire Pandion Therapeutics for $60 per share in cash, or $1.85 billion. Merck's share price is up 0.44% in pre-market. Bill, what are you seeing so far as this morning's news?
First off, that Merck news is very significant. They should be going down when you do a takeover, but Merck is just so undervalued here, and this takeover is really a good news for them. So yeah, I mean, Merck is a very interesting long-term play for me. But Shane, I use my alerts. I break them down into events. I break them down into sectors. It gives me the ability to really jump quickly on the breaking news. When you see these stories come out, like the Teladoc earnings, and you see how horrible they were, it was a perfect shorting opportunity. And that's what Newsware delivers on a regular basis, that ability to drill down into news stories on specific events right as they're expected to be announced, and you get your first look. And that's how you can profit using Newsware on a regular basis. My FANG alert, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The House Judiciary Committee's Antitrust Subcommittee is going to be kicking off hearings meant to explore the competitive behavior for the digital economy. This means they're going after, the anti-competitive business practices that are being alleged on firms like Twitter, Facebook, Google, and others. I see Amazon. A group of Republican senators is asking Amazon to explain why it recently moved a book about transgender issues that had been on the platform for about 3 years. That Tesla story, I also saw that that temporary halt, that was very interesting to me as well. Moving over to my Dow Jones 30 alert, Verizon tops the list of 5G spectrum bidders. Again, they're spending up to $45 billion at that 5G spectrum auction. AT&T was right behind them, spending $23 billion. I see Disney. Disney is bringing back almost 1,000 cast members that should be returning to work. Visa, it's ticker V. Visa and MasterCard are planning to raise their swipe fees. And let's throw out the CVX. This is Chevron. Stock broke 104 this morning, broke 100 yesterday. Today it broke 104. You got that OPEC meeting next week. That could derail this rally, so you want to be cautious with shares of Chevron. My dividend alert hit on Best Buy this morning. It raised its quarterly dividend by 27 cents to 70 cents this morning. Ticker PKG, Paul Kilo Grace. They announced a $1 dividend. My buyback alert, Domino's Pizza, they're set for a $1 billion share buyback. Earnings came out. They missed on earnings. Stock's down heavily this morning. My guidance alert, Smucker's Jam, that's ticker SJM. They raised their guidance for the full year for 2021 to an adjusted range basis of $8.70 to $8.90. The street estimate was $8.72. So this is a big raise. NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, they expect record revenue of $5.3 billion, while the street's estimate is at $4.53 billion. So shares in NVIDIA, they're trading lower. But as one of the analysts was saying that I read yesterday, you got to consider buying them on weakness.
Moving into our trade talk picks for today, I'm picking Norwegian Cruise Line, ticker NCLH, one we just spoke about earlier. The demand for future cruises, it's there. People feel pent up. People still want to go. The numbers are showing it. And this is a really bullish looking stock. It's been going up yesterday. It's going up today. It's about halfway under the price it was trading at pre-pandemic, $60 a share. Now it's about 32. I'd like to see it get at 32 level, flat level. That'd be nice to see. And if I think we got to watch at the open to see if it's going to spike right away, if it's one that's going to have a moment to take a dip. But if we can get a little dip, I'd be nice. But I do expect to see some rise in that from there. What's your pick looking like today, Bill?
I'm really interested in DraftKings. That's ticker DKNG. They're releasing earnings tomorrow. Stock is priced for a 15% move on their release. It's 15% higher, 15% lower. This is just the range that it could move. Now, the call put ratio yesterday ended at 3.89 for the weekly options. That was very positive. There's a lot of good call activity yesterday. good call activity isn't always an indication of a beat, but it is positive to me. I noticed a Morgan Stanley note that came out this morning saying they expect the firm to raise their revenue guidance when they release tomorrow. I know that there's a proposal in Texas about legalizing sports betting. That's not going to be in this week's revenue and in tomorrow's revenue, but they may make mention of it in the report tomorrow morning. New Jersey, on the other hand, they reported that their gaming revenue increased 15% in January. So, add up these factors, and yeah, you could see DraftKings produce a good report tomorrow. The EPS is likely to come in a little lighter, but the revenue should be strong. I'm expecting DraftKings to start running this afternoon. The stock is down, about 0.5% right now. If I can get in, under 59.5, that's probably a good entry point. And I could see this thing start to run into earnings this afternoon. So I'm sticking with DraftKings, DKNG.
Moving into our hot off the press, this is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak that will be moving the stocks today. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Bill, looking at our newswire alerts, seeing all the headlines that are streaming in, which are the ones we should be letting traders know about?
Let's talk about Best Buy, ticker BBY. They just laid off 5,000 employees and added 2,000 employees to part-time roles. Plus, they announced plans to accelerate store closures this year. They're really looking to kind of lower their retail footprint but expand online. So, that Best Buy story is very interesting to me. I see Oppenheimer downgraded Verizon Communications based on valuation after that big purchase of the 5G spectrum rights. I see Target's doubling the number of Apple shops in its stores.
One on Schrodinger, ticker SDGR. They've expanded their collaboration with Google Cloud.
There's a Single Point, that's ticker SING. They're looking to acquire Box Pure Air. They sent them a letter just apparently this morning. Marvel, that's ticker MRVL. They're partnering with Fujitsu on a 5G broadband technology.
Northern Genesis Acquisition, ticker NGA, is on watch as a merger target. Lion Electric lands California's largest school district.
Ticker MLCO, Melco Resorts and Entertainment. These guys put hotels in, Caribbean destinations. They came out and said COVID continues to have material impact on their operations. Not really surprising. Ticker HFFG, Henry Frank Grace. HF Foods Group announced the resignation of the co-CEO. Here's an interesting one on Boeing. Apparently, Boeing had planned to replace the 777 engine before the failures. That came out on the Wall Street Journal this morning. If you notice, Boeing just went parabolic yesterday. It hit $230 a share, and it was my stock of the day on Tuesday. And Wednesday it took off.
Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing.
Same here. So that's going to do it for what's hot off the press. But traders, keep in mind that you can receive these same breaking stories just like us simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. It will definitely up your trading game. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Wednesday. I had Fisker, ticker FSR. It opened at $19.20. But if you played this one smart, just like we talked about waiting at the open to see if it could take a dip, just a couple minutes after the open, it did. So you could have gotten in for as low as $18.60. And that price really came around multiple times and it hovered in that area. So it was definitely a good price you can get in at. From there, things really started to take off around 10 a.m. The stocks, they steadily moved upward till the close at $22.58 for the day, which totals a 21.39% gain. So that was a great move for us. And if we played it like we talked about, we're in the green. So good move. How'd yours end up doing, Bill?
Well, I went with NTAP yesterday. That's ticker NTAP. If you recall, I said I really want to get into this stock under 69. And sure enough, this thing opened up at 68.84. And it ran to over $70, right, in 5-10, in the first like 5, 10, 15 minutes of trading. It actually came out with a high on the day of 71.57, easily beating our goal of $1 or 1%. Earnings were stellar, but listen, as we noticed, we didn't want to hold this into earnings because the valuation concerns on all the tech stocks, it has been pushing them lower, even on stellar earnings, which is, what NTAP had. So, it was a big win. It's positive. I see all the brokers are coming out raising their price targets on it today, but NTAP was my stock, and it performed beautifully yesterday.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.